Hey there coffee lovers! Today we're showing you how to clean your Mazzer Super Jolly espresso grinder or equivalent machine. Let's get started. Alright, so let's jump right into it. Today I'm going to be showing you how to take apart your Mazzer Super Jolly to access and clean your burrs and the inner grind chamber. Some simple tools you'll need are going to be a Phillips head screwdriver, a brush, and a more durable brush that you can use to clean out the burrs. In addition, it's always helpful to have a few rags on hand just to help mitigate your mess. So we're going to start with the machine on, though I am going to immediately stress that when working on your grinder after you clean out the beans, you definitely want to have your grinder both off and unplugged to avoid causing any damage to your fingers. So first we want to begin by shutting off your hopper and ensuring it pokes through all the way to the other side so you won't spill your beans when lifting up the hopper. Next you'll want something to purge all of those excess grounds into and just begin purging those. Take your Phillips head and remove the screw that's holding your hopper into place. Making sure, because it's a small screw, not to lose it. I like to keep them on a plate or a towel so I don't lose them. Next you may remove that hopper and either just set it to the side or you can completely clean it out. So at this point you can easily see your burrs and it's not actually too dirty in there, though we definitely do need a good cleaning. So at this point you want to take your collar and spin it in the clockwise direction, essentially going toward coarse. It's also very helpful to remove the grinder cap and set it to the side so you don't get caught on the cord. So once you have everything removed, at this point you're going to take your Phillips head and remove the screw that is holding the collar into place so we can screw this clockwise, going toward a coarser direction in order to remove the collar and access those burrs. And setting this down in the background behind me, make sure you keep track of the different size screws. Also, while we have our Phillips head out, we can go ahead and remove our grind chamber here, laying it to the side, and remove the two screws on either side of your grind chamber, allowing you to access the inner chamber. So now you can remove that handguard very easily and access that inner grind chamber here, allowing you to clean out the inside. You can also rest your control panel on the side using those clips provided. And I'll use my flashlight. If you can see, we actually have quite a bit of buildup in there, which we'll easily access in just a moment. At this point, we want to continue spinning our collar in the clockwise direction, aka going coarser, until it's completely free. At that point you can remove it, and you can also remove this grind chamber and the upper burr. So here's what my bottom and top burr look like. Not too bad, but they definitely need a really good scrubbing here, which I'll show you how to do. So just to give you a clear, well-lit example of what we're about to do is we're going to take this harder bristled brush and just clean out the teeth of your burr, going all the way around and ensuring to get around the outside and inside, also within the screws. When you're finished, it should look something like this, though maybe not quite as shiny. Let's go ahead and begin scraping around the outside, making sure we get that burr on the inside and all of those individual teeth inside the screw here. And do be careful because there is quite a bit of grease on here, which is what I'm getting on my fingers. If you'd like, you can apply more grease after you're cleaning. Making sure to go with the angle of the teeth and then even against the angle of the teeth, getting on the very inside here. So at this point your brush should be thoroughly dirty and there should be quite a bit of debris. What you're going to do is either take some compressed air or you can very gently use a vacuum to get the rest of the grounds out. So at this point, if you do need that deeper clean, you can grab a ratchet to hold that middle bolt into place here, and what you're going to do is hold with one hand and then unscrew and loosen those inner screws with your other hand. Be super careful with these as you don't want to lose these tiny screws. And go ahead and very gently remove that bottom burr, which you will have to pry up on the sides, but be sure not to damage it. Once it's loose, you can pull it all the way out and do a full cleaning on that bottom burr and within your grind chamber. Alright, so after your initial cleaning, your burr should be looking pretty shiny and new again. Now let's take care of this inner grind chamber. At this point, it's a really good idea to take stock of what's going on inside here and notice if there's any beans or anything stuck around the outside, stones, etc., because this could cause jams in your grinder. So we can take a very soft bristled brush and just begin to kind of brush around here and try to clear out this inner chamber. At this point, we want to use our compressed air or vacuum very gently to get out the rest of those grounds. So next up, we're going to very gently just brush out the excess grounds here, making sure we don't damage this grate. Alright, so at this point we should be looking pretty good and we can start to finish up. So at this point, if you're anything like me, you have two very clean burrs and a giant, very dirty workspace. It's going to be a good idea to grab your vacuum and clean this up before reassembling. Alright, so at this point we have our clean top and bottom burrs that we brushed the teeth of. We have that clean inner grind chamber and our dosing chamber, and we're ready to reassemble our machine because we have just cleaned up our entire area. Something I'd like to say, if you are taking apart your top and bottom burrs and you're taking the screws out, you do want to be extra careful that you're not going to void your warranty. Strip the screws or cause any damage to your burrs, because you could really cause some serious damage to your grinder. So if this is your first time, definitely watch this video thoroughly or consult another professional and have them just kind of watch as you do the cleaning. So at this point we can reseat our bottom burr very carefully and make sure we align it with the holes of the screw. This is a very crucial part because if you don't align it properly, you will experience problems. We're going to hold that inner bolt in place as we align our screws, being extra careful to make sure we don't drop them. A magnetic Phillips is super helpful in this case if you happen to have one. As always with screws, you want to tighten each one slightly and not over tighten one and then move to the next one. Alright, so at this point we can hold that bolt into place here and fully tighten, once again being sure we don't strip those screws. Now we want to replace those springs in case you removed them for your cleaning, which is a good idea just so you don't lose them. After that, we can then realign our top burr, making sure we place that into the screws. And at this point, you can just wipe down and realign your collar here and begin to spin it counterclockwise to retighten it. And being sure to replace that guard screw here, which just ensures you won't grind past as fine as you should possibly go, which could cause damage to your grinder. So you can tighten those by hand and then go back in with your Phillips and make sure they're nice and tight. There we go, just give that a quick wipe down. And almost done here, we can replace our hopper. And before we actually want to open that and allow the beans to flow again, we want to do two things. One, I want to dial in my burrs again until I hear them slightly touch, and then just dial back a little bit so that we'll be closer to our espresso grind. And two, we want to put that screw back in just so our hopper doesn't shake loose. So there's our screw holding our hopper into place here. So now we can finally plug in again so that we can power this on and try to align our burrs before letting those beans flow. So now we want to listen for that chirping. And we can dial it back just a little bit coarser and redial in our espresso. So replacing our control panel here, that is how you clean out the entire burr chamber, dosing chamber, etc. If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our YouTube channel. After that, head on over to majestycoffee.com to find machines like the Mazzer Super Jolly and many more great grinders and espresso machines. Thanks for joining, and I'll see you next time.